Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. His Majesty King Abdullah, in a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, discussed the latest developments in Syria, particularly after the ceasefire agreement for the country's southwest, secured recently by Jordan, Russia and the US. The two leaders affirmed the importance of the deal, which will pave the way to reaching a political solution to the Syrian crisis via the Geneva process. Prime Minister Hani Molki held a series of meetings with Japanese officials ahead of talks with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Molki and Japanese Minister of Foreign Affairs Fumio Kishida discussed prospects of cementing Jordanian-Japanese ties and developments in the Middle East. The Prime Minister reviewed challenges facing Jordan due to the current turmoil in the region, including the repercussions of the Syrian refugee crisis. He said Jordan is playing a key role and positive to bring about peace and enhance regional security and stability. Molki also highlighted the importance of Japan's role in supporting peace opportunities between the Palestinians and Israelis. He thanked Tokyo for its financial and technical assistance to help Jordan carry out developmental projects. Meanwhile, Molki and Japanese Defense Minister Tomimi Inada discussed cooperation between the two countries in the defense field. They discussed efforts to further boost defense cooperation that include participation in peacekeeping and humanitarian missions, crisis management, the fight against terrorism, and the exchange of training and expertise. Jordan welcomed a water deal reached by the Palestinians and Israel. The US-mediated agreement came as the result of a memorandum of understanding signed in Washington in 2013 by Jordan, the Palestinian National Authority, and Israel to implement the Dead Sea Canal project. Minister of Water and Irrigation Hazem Nasser said the deal will secure additional water supplies to the Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and Gaza Strip outside the Oslo agreements. US President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy announced the World Bank-sponsored water deal plan to build a nearly 200-kilometer long pipeline from the Red Sea to the Dead Sea, along with a desalination plant in the port of Aqaba.
As we all know, water is a precious commodity in the Middle East. The United States welcomes the agreement reached by the Palestinian Authority and the government of Israel, which will allow for the sale of up to 33 million cubic meters of water from Israel to the Palestinian Authority. In addition, we hope that this deal will contribute to the healing of the Dead Sea, and that it will help not only Palestinians and Israelis, but Jordanians as well.
Coinciding with the US envoy's trip to the region, the Israeli municipality of Jerusalem is reported to have endorsed a plan to build about 800 housing units in Jewish settlements around occupied East Jerusalem. Israel's Ma'arif newspaper reported that the construction will take place in 4 Jerusalem settlements, adding that the municipality had, in return, approved the building of 100 homes near Jerusalem for Palestinians. The U.S. Special Envoy to the Global Coalition Against Daesh said the next priorities against the terror group after the recapture of Mosul will include helping to stabilize liberated areas. The envoy, Brett McCurg, also said Washington pledged an additional $119 million for humanitarian aid in Iraq. He spoke at the U.S. State Department in Washington, where coalition members were meeting to discuss their next priorities on building on progress made in Mosul and Raqqa.
Iraq is far from over. Iraqi forces, with our support, will soon move to liberate remaining territories controlled by ISIS, including Tal Afar, Hawija, and Al-Qaim. We will support them in the military campaign and in what comes next at the humanitarian, stabilization, and governance levels.
UN mediator Stefan de Mistura said Syria's government and opposition negotiators could soon hold face-to-face talks for the first time. De Mistura said he did not expect the opposition High Negotiations Committee to unite with the other dissident groupings, the Moscow and Cairo platforms, in time for talks or direct talks with Syria's government during this round of Geneva talks. The Moscow and Cairo platforms each comprise a handful of activists and are named after the cities where they first convened at meetings held with Russia's approval in support. De Mistura promised to go into much more substance on the political side. U.S. President Donald Trump arrived in Paris seeking common ground with France's new leader Emmanuel Macron. The two leaders were hoping to overcome key differences, including on climate change, to move forward with defense and diplomatic cooperation. Trump was set to attend the French National Day military parade tomorrow. One of the biggest icebergs on record has broken away from Antarctica, creating an extra hazard for ships around the continent as it breaks up. Scientists said the 1 trillion-ton iceberg, measuring 5,800 square kilometers, has been close to breaking off for a few months. The iceberg was already floating before it broke away, so there is no immediate impact on sea levels, but the calving has left the Larsen Sea ice shelf reduced in area by more than 12%. And finally, it will be fair across many regions tonight and relatively hot in the hilly areas tomorrow. Amman can expect a high of 33 degrees Celsius. In the Gulf Aqaba, it will be hot with a low of 31 degrees tonight, rising to 43 degrees tomorrow with light winds and calm seas. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news. I'm Leo Balkar. Have a lovely weekend.